All right, so we're constantly hearing about these amazing new AI models, right? But here's the thing. There's a massive, multi-billion-dollar secret that nobody's talking about. It's the reason why most of these incredible projects, they just fizzle out. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and show you how to fix it.
Okay, let's just kick things off with a number that honestly should make anyone in the tech world just stop and think. 80%. A staggering 80% of all machine learning models, the actual brains behind all this AI magic, they never, ever make it into a real live product. They're built, they're tested, and then they just die on the vine. They never see the light of day.
So that just begs the million-dollar question, right? Or maybe it's a billion-dollar question. Why? How can all of this expensive, groundbreaking work just vanish into thin air? Well, it turns out, and this is the key, building the model, that's actually the easy part. The real battle, that starts the second it's finished. You see, the moment a model leaves the nice, clean lab and hits the messy, real world, everything changes. It's a totally different ballgame. The data it was trained on, it starts to get stale, almost immediately. We call this model decay. New data is constantly flooding in, and suddenly the model's predictions start getting, well, kind of wonky. And on top of that, you've got all these different teams, the data scientists, the engineers, the ops people, and they're just not speaking the same language. So trying to update or retrain the model, oh man, it becomes this incredibly painful manual chore.
So to deal with this real-world AI crisis, a whole new discipline had to be invented. And that discipline is called MLOps. The best way to think about it? It's the bridge. It's what takes AI from being a really cool science fair project and turns it into a tough, reliable tool that businesses can actually depend on.
Okay, so what is MLOps really? Well, the name says it all. Machine learning operations. It's a whole set of practices and tools that are all about managing the entire life of a model from beginning to end. And that's the crucial part. It's not just about building it. It's about getting it out there, keeping a close eye on it, and making sure it keeps getting better and better out in the wild.
And you've got to understand, MLOps is not a one-person show, not even close. It is absolutely a team sport. It's this amazing blend of skills. You've got the machine learning wizards, the super disciplined software engineers, your DevOps folks, the data engineering gurus, and the cloud infrastructure pros. MLOps is the playbook that gets all of them on the same page working towards one single goal, making AI actually work day in and day out.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the who. But let's get into the nitty-gritty. How does this stuff actually work? How does MLOps take a brilliant model and make sure it doesn't just survive, but thrives out there in the real world? So if you look at a typical machine learning project, it's got a few steps, right? You define the problem, you grab the data, you process it, and then you train and validate your model. Now, for years, this is where most projects just stopped. Step 3 was the finish line. But MLOps says, no, the real work starts now. It's all about what comes next, deploying the model, and then, and this is the big one, that never-ending loop of monitoring and retraining.
Now, if you're familiar with the world of software, you've definitely heard of DevOps, and that's a fantastic way to get your head around MLOps. See, DevOps is great for managing traditional software, where the logic is fixed, the code does what it does. But MLOps, it's a whole different beast. It's managing a model that's probabilistic, that learns and changes. This means you can't just track changes to your code. You have to track the code and the data it was trained on and the resulting model itself. It's like playing 3D chess instead of regular chess. The complexity is just on another level.
So to wrangle all that complexity, MLOps comes with a whole toolkit, a set of core components. You got versioning for literally everything, the code, the data, the models, so you can always go back and reproduce the result. Perfect reproducibility. Then you have deployment pipelines, which are basically automated assembly lines for your AI, pushing out new versions safely and consistently. You have monitoring tools that are constantly on the lookout for things like model drift, which is just a fancy way of saying the model is getting out of sync with reality. And all of this is supported by things like automated retraining systems and a central model registry to keep everything organized.
Okay, I know. That all sounds super technical. You might be thinking, so what? Why should I or my business care about any of this? And the answer really boils down to one word: value. It's about turning AI from a cost center into a value generator. Look, when you get MLOps right, the benefits are just massive. For starters, you can actually get your models out the door way faster. And when they're out there, you have way less risk of them blowing up or failing. Your models actually improve over time instead of getting worse. Your teams, they stop working in silos and actually collaborate effectively. And the bottom line? You start building reliable, scalable AI systems that deliver a real return on investment. You're no longer just running experiments, you're building a core part of your business.
I think this next quote just hits the nail on the head. It really perfectly captures the whole point. MLOps converts machine learning from a one-time experiment into a real business asset. It's about taking AI seriously. It's what makes it professional, sustainable, and truly valuable. So, where do we go from here? I mean, MLOps is still a relatively new field, which is exciting. But the vision for where it's going, well, it's incredibly ambitious. Let's take a look at the future.
The best way to think about this is like a maturity journey, kind of like levels in a game. Most companies honestly are still at level 0, doing everything by hand, or maybe level 1 with some basic automation. But the holy grail, the ultimate goal, is level 3, a fully automated continuous training system where the model essentially learns and improves itself with almost zero human hand-holding.
And that's where things get really wild. This journey leads to the next big phase, truly autonomous AI systems. We're talking about models that can diagnose their own problems, pipelines that can actually heal themselves when something breaks, AI that automatically retrains itself on live streaming data, all happening in real time. And of course, all of this has to be wrapped in strong, responsible, and ethical AI governance. That's the future that MLOps is paving the way for.
And that really brings us to the most important takeaway from all of this. If there's one single idea I want you to walk away with, it's this. For the longest time, everyone thought that getting an AI model deployed was the finish line. You did it. But what MLOps teaches us is that deployment isn't the end. It's the starting line. It's where the model's real life truly begins.